what's up? It's Sab. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for tuning in to my 30 days of videos. I have been trying to kind of spice this up with not just what I eat in a day vlog. So of course I was already filming makeup and motivation beforehand, and I'm going to continue to do that throughout my 30-day journey as well. Today the topic was actually requested on my last video, was to talk about parenting and how to learn to be your best self while still kind of supporting your children and being a great parent and trying to find that balance. It's definitely something for me. It's definitely something for me that I have struggled with in the past, and I've grown a lot as a parent, as a partner in the past few years of my life. So I am going to kind of share with you guys my journey and my thoughts on that topic. So I don't have anything fancy going on, so I won't probably be doing any kind of extravagant makeup today. It was my sister's birthday earlier, and I'm taking her friends to the roller skating rink in our town, and I will be joining her. So let's get right into the makeup. I'm currently mixing my foundations, my light and my medium of the Bare Pro, in Sable and Warm Neutral, just because I'm in a very, very in between state. She just loves to be annoying. So I have this just nice light layer on. It is only one pump of each of these, and Bare Minerals does not suggest using a beauty blender, actually, because it soaks up the product if you're wanting a more full coverage. I like this kind of lightened coverage, especially in the summertime when I'm not really trying to do super heavy makeup. So let's get on to the topic. So first off, one of the biggest things I've realized, let me just tell you a little bit more of my backstory. I know I've kind of shared a lot of this recently, but I don't know my father, and my mother was and is still currently a heroin addict. So when it comes to parents to pull things from, I have not had the best. However, because I've lived, I never like to say that I've lived a rough life, because I've always made the best of every situation I've been in. But because I've, had, I guess, not the most stable upbringing, I really have tried to focus on, for myself, being a better person, being a better parent, being all of the things that I guess I wish I had growing up. That's kind of been like my drive and vision as an adult. And one of the biggest things that I did when my children were first born is not even when they were first born, but just as they were growing up, I would buy them everything that I never had. I mean, it got to the point, first off, they are the only grandchildren really on both sides of my side of the family. And primarily because I'm an oldest sibling, and nobody else of my siblings, obviously they all live with me, literally, even my 30-year-old brother Ray. None of them have children, so there's that. And then same thing on my husband's side. So my children were already literally instantly spoiled because they were the only grandchildren. And in addition to that, my husband and I would buy them literally everything. So when they were toddlers, everything in the Fisher-Price aisle, like, the grandparents were starting to get frustrated because they literally couldn't buy anything for them without there being duplicates. So that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made. And I don't necessarily regret that, I went crazy buying my kids stuff, but I can definitely tell you that, like, now that I am an older person and I'm wiser, I have realized, like, why I did that. I don't think I realized it at the time. So I think, we all do things as parents that you feel like are going to be the best things in the moment, and then they end up sometimes not being the best things in the moment. For instance, my oldest daughter Lillian, who's 8, ever since I've recently adopted my younger siblings, I have been a lot more frugal with what I purchase, because now it's not just going to the store and buying my girls something. It's, to be fair, I have to buy everybody something. And so I have pretty much made it so that, they get a pretty decent size allowance every month, and that's what they buy their stuff. I never buy them anything at the store anymore. I wanted it to be kind of important to them, like when it's their birthday or Christmas that they really are thoughtful and mindful about how they're selecting gifts because they don't get them all the time. And that has been a huge shocker to my kids. Like they have definitely adapted, but it was very like stressful and frustrating for them in the beginning to not be able to just get things when they'd go to the store. And I wouldn't like go crazy, but I mean, I'm just talking little things like little snacks or like little toys that are like $3 or $4. I used to just buy them stuff all the time. I would always buy them new outfits and shoes, and they just, unfortunately, like I can't afford to do that for 5 kids. And so I have to be myself. I have to be a lot more mindful of how I spend my money. And for the most part, I do treat my girls the same as I treat my siblings. There's not really any differentiation between them. And that is kind of a thing that I'm trying to find balance with, because I do think that my kids deserve a little bit of a difference, because, you know, it's not fair to them that we have extra kids in the house. Like, that's an impact on them. But at the same time, I don't want my siblings to feel like, even though they're getting the best life possible living with my husband and I than they would have with anybody else in our family, I still don't want them to feel like they're not being treated fairly or they're not getting the same types of things. So it's really hard for my husband and I to find balance with 5 kids when 3 of them are not my own. But you know, we're working through it. So my daughter Lillian definitely struggles with not getting things that she wants, which is fine. I'm a really strong parent, so it doesn't bother me that I've got extra obstacles I've created for myself, and I'm teaching her and she's definitely learning. But I think with all of that kind of being said, I know that overall that the reason that she's that way is definitely because of me and my behaviors as a parent, trying to solve my own sadness as a kid and bring that positivity to my kids, when in the end I think I overcompensated for something that wasn't necessary. So now I'm having to deal with the repercussions and retrain her. The other thing that has been definitely a struggle, I guess, per se, I wouldn't say it's a struggle, but it's something I've recently identified and thought to myself, okay, I have to be thinking more mindful with how I'm sharing this. But I think with even my weight loss journey, like both of my children and my siblings all are very aware of like what Weight Watchers is, what weigh-ins are, and I think that sometimes that terrifies me because I never want my kids to feel like I don't think that I'm amazing or that I am not happy in my own skin or really any of that kind of stuff. Like, I want them to be really happy for who they are as kids, and I want them to embrace their own beauty. You know, all of my kids are, obviously I'm biased, but all of my kids are very, you know, they have great features, and I just want them to be happy, and I don't want them to think I'm not. So I have definitely tried to reevaluate how I explain things when it comes to, you know, my weight loss journey and kind of bettering myself. And instead of me saying, oh, you can't have that because it's fat or this, that, or the other, I try to educate them on sugars. And, you know, like, we don't allow our kids, and we've never allowed our kids to have a lot of sweets in the house. That's just not something that we've ever, like, we would go do ice cream as like a treat every once in a while, but we would never have sugar. I never had sugar cereals. I don't have sugary anything in the house for the kids, fruit snacks, none of that kind of stuff. Like, we just don't do that. And we have done it from time to time as like, again, a treat, but we just have never been that. We've had a lot of fruits in the house, and so we've tried to educate our kids on like why we choose to do fruits and why they can't have so much sugar. But the issue that I come across in the end is they ultimately get obsessed with sugar. So when they have their allowance money and I do a payout at the first of every month, they literally, the first thing they want to go buy is freaking candy. And that just stresses me out because I want them to have the candy. I don't want to tell them no, but I feel like because we don't let them have sugar that often, then they get super obsessed with the idea of sugar, and I just don't want them to have eating disorders. I mean, to be quite honest, because I experienced the same things when I was growing up with my grandparents. My grandma's favorite thing to say was, well, this needs to last us. She would buy like a thing of Oreos, and it was like her passive aggressive way of telling me that she didn't want me to sit there and binge eat the whole package. but at the same time, that literally just made me want to binge eat the whole package. And especially when I would come back, you know, a week later and the package hadn't been touched, because I refrained from eating the whole package because my grandma was like, this has to last us. But then all the cookies would go bad. So then in a weird way, I had this guilt of like wasting food, and like, I don't know. I think about all of my guilts that I have in life, and I think about my kids, and I just don't want them to end up feeling the same way that I did about food. And I think that sometimes that's, it's hard. It's hard to be able to balance educating your kids and making great choices for yourself, but still being mindful. I've used mindful in this freaking video like 80 sometimes, but really being mindful with how you explain things. So the thing that I can best hope for my children is that, you know, they don't look at me as being somebody who dieted. Like when I think back at my parents, I think back to, or when I think about my mom, so I don't know who my dad is, I think back to my mom, my grandma. Both of them were always like never eating and always trying to, like my mom would purge. She would take laxatives, like, oh my gosh, my mom always had Maalox in the house. Like, so I look at all these unhealthy ways that my grandma and my mom would try to get skinny. I don't want them to think that about me. So when I start to lose weight or start to feel really better about myself, or if people are noticing, you know, family members come over and they go, oh my God, girl, you look so good. What'd you do to lose weight? Like those keywords, lose weight. I don't want my kids to think, oh, I need to lose weight, because when you lose weight, people look at you and are happy for you, and that's how you need to feel. I don't want them to get any of that negative image. So I try to show them that I'm doing things like being active and working out. And a lot of times, like when people give me those comments, I'll literally say like, oh, you know, I started to just be healthier and take better care of myself, and I'm not eating as much junk food. I don't necessarily go, oh, I joined Weight Watchers. At least I try not to say that around my kids. And then I try to tell, you know, my friends and family, like, you know, oh yeah, like I'm just cutting off sugar. I'm trying to eat more fruits and vegetables because those are healthier for me. You know, it's not necessarily a lie, but it's the better truth that I want my kids to kind of know and understand about life, I guess. I want them to see me as being like a healthy, happy mom, and not somebody who was always struggling with self-doubt and self-image and body image and things like that. So, you know, that's definitely something I have to think of. And I think too, like taking time for myself. I used to, when I worked a full-time salary job, I would work and work and work and work, and the only time that I would have with my kids, that's why oftentimes I felt the guilt of buying them things. You know, we would go out and get treats, or we would buy things, and my kids kind of associate my relationship with them as shopping and gifts. And that's really actually kind of sad, because I'm so much more than that. And I think I've taken the time now to spend more time with them, understand what it is that they need from me. We do something in my house called Family Fun Night, and that's that can be doing puzzles, playing board games. We just try to do more as a family, and I've seen a huge improvement in just the kids' relationships, knowing, you know, it could be a family movie night, we do a popcorn bar, things like that. It has definitely helped with the bonding of the 5 children and us, and kind of just making it feel more like when we say family time, it doesn't mean that it always has to be a big, extravagant, expensive event where people are getting things. You don't always have to get things to feel rewarded. You can spend time with people and feel rewarded, and that's something, a huge, you know, lesson, or like just a huge vibe that my husband and I want our kids to have. So it's just been really different. And you know, I also build a lot of structure in the house. I have that video, which I'll link above, the 5-kid chore routine. I've dedicated a lot of time and energy kind of figuring out the best routine for my household and how to kind of stick to that. And I've realized my kids are so much more productive when I follow through with whatever I've committed to. You know, whether that's checking chores, changing up chores, following through with a dinner I said I was going to do, following through with a family fun night. Like, they are very responsive, and they're more trusting when I follow through with what it is that I'm going to commit to. And I think a big part of that I've learned just in retail management, like business management. Your employees also are going to be way more bought in and find value in you as your employer if you actually follow through with the things that you commit to. So anyways, I feel like I kind of rambled, and hopefully that was a good topic to kind of bring up, but those are just some things that I've made and some changes I've made and some flaws that I've found in my parenting and how I've kind of adjusted to current state and realizing how I can kind of add that value back into my relationships with my kids and my siblings. And I mean, even my husband, like, we find it really important. We go on a date night at least once a week, and sometimes that's to our favorite tap room. You guys probably see that a lot on my Instagram stories. Or we do like dinner. I love Uno, so I love going to the tap room, because our local tap room, you just get some beers and like play board games. It's kind of fun. And I think our children seeing the relationship that myself and my husband have, I think is a huge impact on them as well. And just knowing that like I make time for me, and I make time for working out, and I make time for them, and I make time for their dad, and being able to kind of see that balance of who I am as a person, because my mom and my grandma did nothing but focus 100% of their time on whatever man was in their life, so they didn't give me and my siblings the attention, and they were really self-driven, self-focused people. So I just want them to see that I find full balance. You know, I've been a career woman. I have a happy marriage. I communicate well with my husband. We align a lot with how we parent our kids. I've learned to show them organization and follow through in the house. I've been able to show them how I can put myself first with health and exercise, and, you know, even commitment through YouTube videos. My kids don't watch all my YouTube videos, but some of the quirkier ones and funnier family vlogs, like, I let them see. But for them to just kind of see that I have so many different attributes and so many different things about me, it just has helped me show and mold them into being amazing people. And you can really see, you know, probably in some of my videos, just they have really quirky personalities. They're really out there. Very opinionated, strong-willed kids, so I just absolutely love that. So anyways, if you guys have any more suggestions for this, I think the next one I will be doing is going to be on relationships. That was another comment I got on a previous video. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I kind of feel like I should do a full get ready, but you know, you guys are just seeing the makeup for now. Cool. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.